Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a bit of a different video, and apologies for not releasing anything for a while. My computer died and I had to get it fixed, but there was actually nothing wrong with it. I just paid 30 quid for a technician to tell me that I'm overreacting. But I have it back, and today what I'm going to look at is this post from Darius that is about a week old now, so it's not breaking news by any means. But what I'll do is I'll switch my screen. And this is a Reddit post from the man himself, which is the community manager from CM Games, Darius. He's very well known if you do follow the subreddit. But I'm just going to have a look through the changes and give you my opinions on them. And that's all this video is going to be. So let's just take a look at the first one. He's got changes here. So the weapons, the OTS-14 Groza can now only be found inside the radius. That's quite interesting. I haven't actually used the Groza in the new game because it's lost some of its aura now that it's got rid of the underbarrel grenade launcher. Like, grenades and grenade launchers don't exist in the second game. In the first game, it was quite a fun feature of the Groza. They don't have that in the second one, and I just never got around to using it. So, I mean, it's interesting that it could only be found inside the radius, and I think if they can implement quite a few weapons, I know, for example, the GSH, the sidearm, you can't buy that, and you have to find it in the radius. So it's quite interesting that they're increasing the number of guns that could only be found and not bought. I'm a fan of that. Sorry, I went past one. The Groza now has a separate rail attachment, which can also only be found in radius locations. Okay, so that's much the same as the first one. Anything Groza related you have to find. So audio, different size items now produce distinct splashes when dropped into water. I never knew that was an issue. The only audio thing that I found is the light bulb anomaly. Every time you pick one up, every time you place one down, it sounds like it's just smashed apart. Like there seems to be one audio clip which is a big smashing sound. So I'm imagining that's something they'll fix at some point. So now for fixes. There's a crash when moving to the Pechorsk outskirts location. I've not faced that, luckily, but that does sound annoying. One thing I should have led with, which is about the beta. This is an update for the 0.14 beta. They're updating it, which is what they've just done. So they've updated it, and the next update they're going to do is actually going to, well, the plan is for the full release of 0.14, which hopefully, all being well, will be included with the MetaQuest version. So I think a big chunk of the fan base is really looking forward to playing because they haven't been able to get the most out of the game because us lot on PC, we've had the betas, we've had Pechorsk Outskirts for months now, and the MetaQuest users, I'm sure there's plenty of you watching this and you'll be with me, you want to play the Pechorsk Outskirts and you haven't been able to do that yet. So it will be fantastic for them to get this done, and I think now that it's November, it is the November the 5th bonfire night, and before the next month, so sometime in November, I think the plan is to have 0.14 rolled out across all platforms. Sorry, going on. So there's a crash when overwriting the first mission save slot. That's nothing that I've faced a problem with myself. Fix a crash related to updating available missions. Oh my word, there's lots of crashes. A crash that could occur when interacting with an ammo box and ammo cartridges placed close together in the backpack in certain sequences. These sound like they're quite annoying, so it's good that they fixed these. The game no longer crashes if the player kills themselves using the IZH Benelli. How do people find out about these? Do they just walk around the zone and think, oh, sod it, life's too much for me right now in the radius, let's blow my face off with a shotty. Next one, fixed a crash related to enemy spawn on Pechorsk outskirts. Fix a crash that could occur when spraying cleaning oil. I imagine all of these are very specific circumstances, so all of these are crashes. You'd have to be quite specific circumstances for them to actually cause a crash. None of these I've found. The only crash I've noticed is when I, for just shits and giggles, jumped into the big pit in Pechorsk outskirts. I just thought it'd be funny. I thought I would die and then I'd load, but the game just fully crashed. So graphics, the dithering effect no longer appears when shadow's quality is set to high while using DirectX 11. And for weapons, gun parts no longer fail to reinstall after being removed, following a save load or when changing locations. The laser sight beam no longer casts shadows. All of these are fixes that I never knew were issues in the first place, but clearly they knew about them. Weapons, the error message no longer appears when trying to shoot the PM pistol. Gear, there's a few for gear. Let's highlight these. So these 4 lines. So pouches attached to the backpack now work correctly and no longer occasionally stop functioning. Missing objects have been added to the Peninsula map. Mission items no longer start playing sounds again after a save load or when changing locations. And the lost item marker no longer appears on the map if the mission has already been completed. Damn, you know what? Reading all this, I could not be a dev. All of these like really specific details. So facility, missing furniture items have been returned to their proper places. I feel like is that an issue, or could they just ride it out? Could they just say, yeah, that's part of the plan? I mean, there's always like furniture and stuff floating around. They could just play it off as canon. So radius locations, fixed cases where the player could get stuck or fall through the floor in certain buildings in the Pechorsk outskirts. Now in Pechorsk outskirts, there's quite a few like buildings and close proximity areas with enemies and stuff like that. I haven't personally fallen through the floor. Again, yeah, all of these I haven't faced myself. So radius locations, extra weapon crate sounds no longer play, and the intended crate sounds now trigger correctly. Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that if you find a weapon crate, they start playing a sound now, which I'm all for because I don't want to accidentally miss a crate if I'm just not looking properly. Radius locations, fixed visual bugs across all locations. That's quite vague. Fixed a bug where the sleep UI would not appear when using the bed in the shelter. And Creep Hunter no longer continues to emit sounds after being killed. Never found that myself. In co-op, the client no longer appears underground after moving from Pechorsk outskirts to Peninsula. I can't say a single one of those problems they fixed was a problem I faced personally. So maybe I've just been lucky and I've faced a fairly seamless experience with this game. One thing I have found, and a lot of people are saying it, is that there was an issue with the beta when you press reload. So when you try to drop the IZH barrel to reload it, sometimes it wouldn't open properly, and you actually got to use 2 hands to open it, to kind of crack it open. I don't know if they fixed that. I've only played a couple of hours of the new update. But one thing I have found, and I think everyone kind of knows about, is the item slots that I did my video about. They're kind of bugged at the moment. So you place an item on them, that's fine. But when you take the item off and you want to put it back on, sometimes it doesn't let you. So let's just take a look at some of the comments from the users, because obviously this is quite important. And I think this is what CM Games deserve a lot of credit for, because they do take into account what people want from the game and what people are saying in the community. So Habit Optimal 1412, having the Groza be a Radius exclusive, interesting. Any plans for more Radius exclusive weapons in the future? If they do it for the Mosin, I hope it is attached to the corpse of some old grumpy looking dude. Yeah, I think we all agree that having a set shop is great. But I think there's a lot of us that are kind of like, we want to be treasure hunters when we're playing the game. So if at the moment, it's a case of you can buy basically all the guns, and then the guns you find in the Radius are worse than the guns you can buy. And I don't think that should necessarily be the case. I think the guns you should find should be better, if anything, or at least just different. But I think if you could find guns that are better. So anyone who's played the Scavenger mod on the first Into the Radius, that included a feature that had like upgraded versions of guns. That's fantastic. I don't know why that's not in the game. It might be, but I don't know why it's not like something that really, what am I trying to say? People who want achievements, that would be our achievement. Item slot and inventory fixes are super appreciated. And no more bathroom traps, hooray. Will scopes be fixed soon as well? The one thing I really want to see improvements in personally. Thank you for your hard work. I've never noticed a problem with the scopes. So I don't know what he's meaning about that. Will scopes be fixed? Let's have a look at the next comment. So, hey Darius, off topic, but do you know if mimics killing themselves by shooting through a reflector anomaly is real? That's my only explanation on how I managed to kill 2 police mimics with 1 shot. Or maybe the reflector somehow redirected my headshot to another mimic's head. And Darius actually confirmed that this is possible. That sounds incredibly unlikely, or very difficult to pull off, but it's cool that it's possible. So the, what are they called? Deflector. Reflector. They can actually change the path of bullets, which I never knew was a thing, to be honest. Has the glitch where the game crashes during multiplayer save load, or where clients get killed by Tide whenever the host loads a save, been fixed? No replies to that one, but I haven't played multiplayer yet, and that's something I do want to give a go with this game. And with the fixes of Beta 4, which is practically unplayable for me, now being able to play it on Beta 5, wow, these are really some huge changes. Environments are much more cluttered, both outside and inside, makes it much more interesting and real feeling. And that new underground area is so weird, much like the tutorial area. So glad to see that coming back to the game, rather than just being a thing that's in the tutorial. I honestly wasn't expecting this big of an update between beta versions of 0.14. Really amazing work. They're working their socks off, clearly, at CM. And I know people who are on MetaQuest probably don't see that, because you just have to wait and just sit there twiddling your thumbs. I do think with the full release of 0.14, there'll be a lot more to play. But I was actually asked this the other day, would you recommend I play the first one or play the second one? And I think most of us would agree, at the moment, if you haven't played either, play the first one. It's a finished game. It's a lot more forgiving than this one. So it's a good kind of way of practice, getting better at how the game works and getting better at the game. Because I don't know about you guys, I found the second one, when I first jumped in, really difficult. It is a lot more unforgiving. Other than that, I don't know about you guys, but I find the portal anomaly, where you're jumping between different areas of the forest, when I was doing that mission, my computer was whirring like crazy. It sounded like it was going to set on fire. So I don't know if that's a performance thing, or maybe it is just quite a demanding mission because it's instantaneously, jumping you from place to place, and it has to render all of that stuff. It's a very graphic intensive game at the moment. It asks a lot of your computer. Yeah, I think the biggest thing here, this is just for PC VR, right? Unfortunately, heartbreak emoji. And yeah, MetaQuest users, the heartbreak emoji is there for you guys. You just simply have to wait. But I think it's cool. I think what I will do is, now that annoyingly, I was going to do this video the second I saw it pop up on Reddit. And that's when my computer decided to just pack it in. So when they update to 0.14 fully, I'll do a big update then. I'll try and get that video out as soon as possible, because it's going to be it's going to be amazing for the MetaQuest players to actually get in on all this stuff that they've added to the game. And we want more content. I think even the players on PC, yes, we've got the extra map, the Pachorsk Outskirts map, but that's still really only really two levels, because Peninsula's more, there's not much to explore in Peninsula. So we have 2 big maps to explore, and we're ready for the full story now. But in terms of the gameplay loop, I might actually go back to Into the Radius 1 for a bit, just for a bit of fun, and then come back to this maybe on the full release of 0.14 to see. I'm just scrolling up and down here. Guys, thanks for watching. Please make sure, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do stream these games. So at the moment I'm streaming Into the Radius 2, but I think my next stream I'm going to stream Into the Radius 1 again. Get the scavenger mod going. But I stream 3 times a week. I'll put it up on the screen now. It's every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, and every Friday night, 8 PM UK time. So subscribe and I'll pop up on YouTube there. I don't stream on Twitch, it's just on YouTube. And also, you want to be subscribed if you want me to do another video on this, on the full release of 0.14, because that is exactly what I will be doing. But if you have watched this, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you next time.